Hello, everyone. My name is Tony Colangelo, and welcome to the next installment of WTF Notes. I'm here, as always, with my dear friends, Wayne Capilli and Fraser Almeida. Hello, gentlemen.
Morning.
Hi, guys.
Today, we are going to talk about lighting, and in specific, really thinking through lighting, to think through lighting strategically in terms of figuring out exactly not only where to place our flashes, but why. And that's really a key consideration. So, guys, shall we jump in? So, Fraser, this is, a lovely luxury listing that you have the good fortune of doing on a pretty regular basis. And as we can see here, we have a, a pretty significant dynamic range in terms of there are quite a few stops between the brightest thing in the shot and the darkest thing in the shot. And given the amount of natural light that comes in, boy, so much of this space is already beautifully lit. And I think that's actually one of the issues when shooting luxury is the presumption that, oh my God, I'm into bigger spaces, therefore I have to have a couple of really huge flashes to be able to light the entire square footage. And that's not the case at all here, right? So Fraser, right off the top, given how dark a couple of corners are here, I guess the natural inclination, and I'm sure we have people watching saying, look at all the pot lights in the ceiling. Why not just turn on the lights? So why didn't you turn on the lights?
Well, initially, when walking this with my agent, we had a discussion, and he was telling me, looking at the space, he wants to make sure it represents indoor, outdoor, that feel. That's why we open up these pocket doors all the way, so that way it can, relay that indoor, outdoor type of vibe he's trying to get. So once I hear that from him in my mind, I'm like, well, then there's no one, like you said, there's already beautiful light in here. So there's no need to have the can lights on. If I had the cans on, that's kind of telling me that the natural light isn't enough to light the space when actually it is. The only thing here that we need to really manage is bringing up the darkness in that kitchen area back there and bringing back some detail in the blown out areas of the where the pocket doors are at. And that's it. But I would say 80-90% of this image looks great. It's just, adding some information or bringing back more detail in those problem areas. And that's it. We don't have to make it too complicated.
Right. And the cans actually would bring up their own issues in terms of mixed lighting and additional color casts and what have you. So, Wayne, you have an interesting way of approaching the thinking through of where to place lights, right? Yeah. You use black and white.
Yes, because
okay.
Black and white
so tell us about that.
So black and white is the actual luminance, which is the light value in a scene. So Fraser, why don't you bring me black and white? So we've taken the color and now we just have black and white. So we can actually see where the light is in the room, how the light's falling. And we can also see, as Fraser pointed out, that it is that kitchen area and that seating area is dark. And that's the only area that we're going to have to light. And working with black and white, I can actually see how much power I'm going to need to bring the far area equal or near the front area. So if we look at the front area, that's like middle gray. That far area is a little darker. So it's probably like about 2 stops. So this lets me know where I need to light and kind of gives me an indication of how much power I'm going to need to light that far area. Because if you look at this space, the only area that we're going to have to light is that small, thin area, which is 10% of this image.
Right.
So I don't need 600-watt strobes or anything like that. I can use very small strobes in targeted areas.
Right. So Fraser, can we go back to the color version?
Sure.
Because one of the things, Wayne, I've heard you say before is that sometimes color tricks us into thinking that there's more light than there actually is. So if we look on the right edge of the photo, that beautiful brown cabinetry there, right on the right edge, that looks pretty well lit. But Fraser, if we turn that to black and white, yeah,
It's dark.
that doesn't look as bright anymore.
Right.
So that kind of informs our decision making around, yeah, maybe we do need a little bit of flash in between or around the dining room area. We cannot presume that just because our eyes saw a bunch of gorgeous color that we have enough light there. Is that right, Wayne? Would you interpret that the same way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, Fraser, why don't you highlight, let's go back to the color, and why don't we take a look at where you put the flashes and why?
So these flashes that we're using, actually, Wayne is the one who introduced me to them. These are the 8100s, the small little Coke cans. Like, yeah, there you go. Very, very small, but very powerful. What I love about these lights is that you could place them in strategic places and they're hidden. You can't even see them, and you don't even need to do any bouncing of like walking around with your speed light. It's all kind of almost in camera. So where I decided to place them is one behind this little cushion here. The other one is
hang on a sec. Let's go with each of the three, and I would, because I'm not a flash guy. I'm more natural light. I know that I would like to hear, and I'm assuming a lot of our listeners or viewers want to hear why you put that first flash in behind that cushion there, or whatever that is in the foreground.
So number one, all these flat lights are pointing straight up to the ceiling. So I'm taking advantage of this nice, beautiful, soft ceiling that once I get the light on there, it's going to bounce and create a big light source that's going to come down and light all these areas. So being the fact this is a big space, large open space, I figured 3 lights will be enough to this front area here. This will cover this section where the dining table is at. Will cover the middle area of this composition, and then behind this island, another light will cover the entire kitchen. So with all those 3 lights popping at the same time, will give me light spread across this entire scene evenly.
Right.
So that's why I chose to put it there.
Okay, there's also one more important thing. Notice that these lights are in the room and not at the camera. So one of the things about using flash is you need to set up where the shadows are going to be falling. So that's why there is no flash by the camera, because there is no way that you can have a flash powerful enough to light that far room and not blast the foreground. So
that's right. That oh my God, don't get me started. And the other reason is that strategic placement of these flashes, particularly the 2 on the right. Yes, we have lovely warm color in the wood there, but what the flashes allow us to do, the 2 on the right, is that we allow more detail. We're going to get some of that beautiful grain in that wood, which actually communicates more about the luxury in this space, because we get to see almost like the quality of the wood, and like using a high-end wood in this very high-end kitchen.
Yep. So here's what the actual lights look like, so you guys can see. And that brings up all those areas there that we're trying to get detail or information.
Right. Okay, so the cabinetry, the far cabinetry now, we can actually see the grain in those far cabinets. I'm not talking about the cabinets by the dining room. I'm talking about the cabinets way in the kitchen. Look how beautifully lit that is. We can actually see the grain in it.
Frazier, are these lights at the same power?
Yeah, all of them are at, I think, full power.
And they're 100 watt
Throughout,
seconds
yeah,
apiece?
yeah,
So this
exactly.
is this is actually 300 watt seconds spread out all through the house, which is a very effective way of, using the power of your strobes. So if you have like a 400 watt second strobe and you're walking around, you're taking a 400 watt strobe and concentrating it. So imagine all that power just spread out evenly throughout the space.
Right,
It's
Yep.
which will make our editing a little bit easier because it'll be a more balanced blending when we do our editing approach.
right.
Yep. And
And
then the
and
only other
also
thing,
and
go ahead.
also placing these strobes, it kind of takes the guesswork out as opposed to walking around with popping flashes all over the place where you're almost guessing. So this way
Right,
you place where the light is going to be and then in the direction of where the light's coming from.
right. Okay.
And then the only other thing here is just to kind of clean it up. Obviously, that view needs to be much, much brighter. So bringing back the ambient for the view and also to clean up the hot spots on the ceiling, we kind of get a little bit more polished
Right.
image. And then,
Yep.
adding some darkness to the foreground here just to help sell that directionality, throwing a curves for a little bit of exposure, and then final little touch of a linear contrast for a micro contrast. And that's it. I mean, that it takes seconds to put this all together in Photoshop. And just with being strategic on site, placing the lights and knowing what you're going to do back in post just makes your life so much easier.
Yeah, I mean, look at how much great light we already had. We don't try to need to light the whole room, just make effective decisions. And that's really the purpose of this video. So we hope that this has been helpful to you, strategically thinking through lighting and where to place the lights. And certainly, if you have any questions at all, just drop any one of us a note and we'll be happy to get back to you. All right. So that's it, guys. That's our latest video. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we very much hope that you'll join us for our next installment of WTF Notes. Until then, please be well. Guys, take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.